Hey guys, how the frigs it going today? Another beauty day in the bay. It's currently 14 Celsius out. Sun, a little bit of overcast. Like there's clouds in the skies and shit. Beauty day in the mother freaking bay. Anyway, yay! Holy. Despite how dark it is down here, I gotta get some shite going up in this baznitch. Basically, I don't know what to do once again with myself today. I was thinking maybe go for another bike ride, but my ass is killing me from yesterday's bike ride. You're saying, why is your ass killing you? Well, it's pretty simple. I don't know. Then I got to thinking, hey, maybe we can go fishing. You know, grab some tackle, grab some rods, go somewhere and go fish. But then I remembered, they probably won't be around. I was told from a friend a good spot to go fishing on Lake Nosbonsing is right off their government dock. I was thinking about it. So I think what I might do today, like I was thinking about going for a hike up the woods behind my house. One thing I know I'm gonna do is I got a pork loin in the Instant Pot. We're gonna slow cook this for 6 hours. Let it do its thing. Gonna chirp. There you go. And I was honestly thinking about, you know what, let's go to the government dock in Bonfield, and you know, we'll get one last fishing expedition in before winter is here. The look on his face is so concerning. Don't follow me. Stop it. What? Ever since his haircut, he's just been weird. Stop it. How do you like it, eh? I'm gonna follow you around. So I'm just having a coffee now. It's about noon, so that should be done by 6. Just having a coffee right now. And then I think what we're gonna do is load up the truck, head out to Bonfield, find the government dock. I'm not buying any bait. I'm just gonna use gulp, alive, or lures. We'll see if we can catch anything today. Probably won't. Like I said, it's fall. The bite's been weird. We'll see how it goes. I can tell you one thing for certain right now. It is definitely not sweater weather. Wow, is she a beauty day today. Anyway, there's something I gotta do before we head off fishing. And I need to tie a new thing off on my casting rod. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'll be with you in a minute. Man, it's hard to believe that it's the 7th today, and look at it out here. I swear, if we go back last year, it didn't look this crisp. It didn't look this crisp at all. Anyway, let's grab the keys to the truck. We got everything back here, bait caster and spinning setup. I've never been to this dock before. My buddy Mitch told me it's good, so we got about a half an hour drive. Let's pitter patter. All right, guys, we made it to the new location. Like I said, a buddy of mine mentioned this spot. He said if I want to catch a pike, it's a good spot to go from the bank because they like to hang out in the weedy areas. I asked him what I should fish with. He said anything will work, doesn't matter. So I've never been down here before. I don't know exactly what to expect. Oh, there's like a dock with a bench on it. That's kind of cool. Good thing I parked where I did because there's no parking here. There's also a boat launch right there. So if I ever do get a kayak or a canoe, I could always carry it down here, fire it in, and go. But hopefully this wind isn't cocking over the audio too bad. Look at this. Man, this does not feel like November. This feels honestly like August right now, how warm it is out. Beauty day, boys. Beauty day. I was gonna borrow this bench to put my stuff on. Alright, I'll leave the spinning rod here. Right now I got this here jerk bait, Lucky Cast, Rapala. I don't know. Everybody I watch online can't pronounce that name. I'm also one of those people. I don't know how well this thing's gonna cast. I gotta tune my rod for it. I also don't know what I'm dealing with here as far as depth. I don't know too much about this location. I will admit. My buddy Mitch told me about it. Said it's a great spot to go for walleye. Well, that bird's nested. Maybe I should cast against the wind. You know, it's funny, certain things that I cast with this, that I use with this bait caster, work great. Other things that I use with this bait caster just don't work at all. Just got to be able to cast it out there. Maybe I'll try casting with the wind. So if I do accidentally catch something today, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. This thing stays pretty shallow. I like it. It's going to slow down my retrieve because the fish are pretty lethargic right now. They probably don't want to chase anything. I don't know, I just wanted to come out and get one last fishing in, and my buddy said this is a great spot to go. Alright guys, decided to switch over to the spinning setup because it's already rigged with a mustad hook. We're going to run in one of these Gulp Alives because I don't have any worms on me and I didn't buy bait because frig it. Got a lot of bait here, so let's go ahead and try one of these Gulps. Got the smell, it's got the look when you reel it, when you jig it. Good enough, good stuff. Hook it up to a weighted, split-shotted mustad here. Send it out there, let her fester. See if we can catch ourselves a fish. Another option is I got some Senkos and I got some O-rings. So if I get bored of this setup, I might go Wacky. I might go Wacky worm setup. I've never tried it, but I hear great success stories from YouTubers who have. So there we go. Got a little minnow on a stick. Let's get this thing out there. See if we can catch anything. To be honest guys, I'm not even expecting to catch any fish today. I'm literally just trying to get out of the house. I figured we'll come and check this spot out and see if it's the juice or not. So far it looks pretty good. Like I see a lot of structure over there that in the summer would contain bass. Right now the bass are probably out into the deep waters, finding a spot, hibernating for the winter. It's kind of what they do. They shut her down. The walleye are currently on a feeding frenzy, but they're only where the bait fish are, and I can't tell if there's any bait fish in the water. It's clarity's good, but it's a deep area here it seems, so hard for me to tell just if there are bait fish around. If there's bait fish, then there's probably walleye feeding on them because they're currently on a feeding frenzy, and on warm days like today the walleye will be out just striking at the bait fish. Yeah, so the bass, usually they shut her down, but I'm wondering what this warm temperature we're getting right now is going to do to them. That's why I was like, you know what, maybe I should come out fishing today because you never know. And I brought my cooler because if I do catch something delicious, then I do plan on hanging on to it. Jesus, I found the weed pad, boys. I found the weed pad. How's the lead sinking? Do a dangle. What if that fits my rod? Sweet. It's almost meant to be. If you were to be catfishing off this dog, just give her an angle, let her sit, and wait for the tip to flex. Like Bonfield, this is, you guys remember a while ago, it would have been like 2 years ago, 2018 summer, I went to a thing out here. It was a car show, bunch of products and stuff. I filmed all the products. It wasn't as awesome as it could have been. It was 2019, sorry I did that. Or was it 2019? I can't remember now. It was the berry flea market, but we had it here because the guys who run the berry flea market bought our drag strip in Bonfield. There's a drag strip out here, guys, in case you didn't know. Currently closed due to COVID, but we have a drag strip in North Bay, near North Bay in Bonfield. It's called King of the Hill. I don't know why it's called King of the Hill, but whatever. I went to the drag strip, and they were doing the car flea market, the automotive flea market. And then that same time, after that, I went back into town, and they were doing Puts In Fest at the waterfront, which, holy crap, was not cheap. I remember that. I went and I got a Philly cheesesteak Puts In, and I think with a Coke, it cost me $18. I was like, holy crap, this is ridiculous. 18 freaking dollars for some potatoes smothered in gravy and steak. Like, come on. That's stupid. And it was okay. It wasn't the best thing I've ever had in my history of having a Puts In. I've had better Puts Ins from friggin' chip trucks. Mind you, some of the chip trucks around here are damn well phenomenal. You go out to Sturgeon Falls and you can pull the chip trucks out there, and holy crap. You want to know how you get fat? Go to Sturgeon Falls and eat Puts In. That's how you get fat. And if a lot of you Americans are not sure what a Puts In is, guys, it's literally French fries covered in, I prefer grated cheese, but some people prefer cheese curds, so it's your call. Covered in grated cheese or cheese curds, and then you drown it in gravy. The hot gravy melts the cheese all throughout the French fries, and it literally becomes a stringy, cheesy, gravy-filled mess that is quite possibly the best damn thing you ever put in your mouth. Now, I personally like to douse a bunch of pepper on it. Some people, like my buddy Jean, likes to cover his in ketchup. I don't know about that. That's a little bit too French for me. But some people do like to put ketchup on their Puts In to give it a little bit of a tomatoey, gravy, beefy taste, the rainbow effect. I'm not that crazy. Yeah, it's pretty weedy out there. Should totally start throwing a spoon, right? Put a swivel on this thing and just start throwing a spoon. I'm also hoping I don't catch a pike for the key reason that I forgot my damn pliers at home. I think I have my hook pliers, but I'm not 100% sure. So as you can tell, is I am really ahead of myself on videos. Like, this video is probably coming out on like the 28th of November, and it's currently the 7th, so I have a 21-day lead right now, and that lead is slowly getting dwindled because with the lack of daylight, you know, it's by 5:30 now, it's freaking dark, and I get off work at 5. There's not much I can do. I got a couple ideas for videos that I want to do. One of them being fix my closet door downstairs. The other one being me sorting through that closet and reorganizing, going through more of my junk, and doing a little bit of cleanup, because let's face it, I kind of want to get more minimalistic on what I own, because stuff is just stuff. You know, it doesn't matter if you have a brand new car, a used car. It doesn't matter if you have a brand new boat, a used boat. All that matters is the stuff you have, you're actually using it to get through your daily life. If you own stuff that's costing you money or taking up space and it serves zero purpose, why the heck are you hanging on to it? And this guy moved. Something bit my minnows bum, doo-dah, doo-dah. I'm gonna try casting into the wind with this because it's not a bait cat. Man, that wind is hot. It's good, it's good. I'm really appreciating the weather right now. Yeah, way better casting into the wind with a spin cast versus a bait caster. Bait caster, the moment I casted it, it was like I should have been feathering my thumb more. I know my buddy Andre comes out here and he fishes, and at night what he'll do is from the dock on his property, because he has a place out here, from the dock on his property, he'll just soar a line out with a heavy 1 ounce weight on it, 1 to 1.5 ounce weight, just send her out there with a big chunk of chicken doused in Kool-Aid and just let it sit overnight, and then he'll check on her in the morning and usually gets a pretty nice sized catfish on her. Yeah, it's not easy casting into the wind. She goes nowhere. She goes freaking nowhere, boys. She goes freaking nowheres. You know, that was something that a friend of mine who's like a great big eco person, she was asking me about these plastic baits. Are they good for the environment? Like if a fish eats one, will it die? I wouldn't really say she's a friend. She's like my buddy's sister. And I had to look into it. So apparently if a fish does eat a plastisol lure, it won't digest it, it'll just shit it out. Like if it happens to swallow one, apparently it doesn't kill the fish. They just get no nutrition out of it. I'm pretty sure if it was toxic, if there was a problem, they probably wouldn't be allowed to make lures out of it. It would come to a bitter stop. There'd be something. Like I'm sure the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry would put an end to using plastics if there was a situation. God, I wish I had that thing my buddy bought. He bought a thing on Amazon. It's a bobber. Well, it looks like a bobber, and then you tie it off on your sorry guys. Then you tie it off on your line like you would a bobber. But then you Bluetooth sync it to your phone, and then when you cast your bait out, it does a sonar look underwater and it tells you if there's fish there. It's like a bobber fish finder. It's pretty badass. I think he said he paid about 150 bucks for it though. So it would really suck if you lost it. $150 for that, but that'd be kind of cool to get something like that. And if you had a kayak, you just dangle it off the bed of the kayak. And then as you're paddling around, if you come across a school of fish or something, then you just kind of paddle up and drop your line and see if you can catch one of the little guys. Bring them up out of the water and, you know, give them some pets, give them a name, and send them back with a treat. Or put them on your stringer and let them tow your kayak around, whatever works. Because I don't even know if I'm casting into fish-filled zones or what. Let it sink down, let it find bottom, and we'll just jig it. Kind of interested this winter though. Struckus actually sent me a picture yesterday. He went to, can't remember what the hell lake he called it. It's remember that I went to 20-Minute Lake? It's part of the lakes out there anyway. He went out there and he caught a fish known as a splake. S-P-L-A-K-E. If you're wondering what it is, it's the MNR. Oh man, is that a snag? There we go, we're free. The MNR, they stock the lakes out on Highway 63 with trout, splake. Splake is basically a laker and a brook trout hybrid, and they stock the lakes out there with them, and they are by far, and everybody I talked to who caught one and cooked it, they clean like a trout, so there's no scales on them. You literally just gut them, take out all the innards, leave the skin on, it's fine, and then depending on how you want to cook it, you can either cook it in a frying pan with a bunch of butter, or that's how my buddy does it. He likes it He likes it in the frying pan with butter and seasoning. Depending on what kind of a mood he's in, he'll use different types of Cajun seasoning or just salt and pepper. I personally like salt, pepper, garlic, but that's just me. It looks like Struckus did it was he threw it in tin foil and baked it in the oven, which also another great way of cooking a splake or a trout is baking it in the oven. The end result, like, you don't even take the bones out, because when you're done cooking it, you literally press on the meat with your fork and the bones eject. Like, the whole spine and all the rib bones fall out of the meat, and you can literally grab it and take them out as a whole and then discard them. And it's funny, if you ever watched old Looney Tune cartoons and you ever seen like when the cat's eating the fish and you just see like the skull of the fish and the bones off the back and the ribs, that's exactly how it looks, minus the skull of the head. Because when you gut the fish, you chop the head off too. Some people will save the trout and splake heads if they catfish, because it's an amazing bait. It freaking stinks. You fire it out into the lake, you let it dangle on the bottom with a weight. The smell will attract a catfish, because catfish, I think they say they have over 1 million different sensory glands for smelling, which is why stinky bait makes catfish go numb. And it's also why they're the greatest bottom feeders ever, because they'll clean up all the rot. So if there's dead fish carcass or whatever, catfish will go and clean that shit up. I got to get out that way next year. That's why I want a kayak so bad, or a canoe. Canoe fishing would be kind of nice because you get more inventory inside the canoe to haul with, but canoes are generally heavier than kayaks. Where a kayak, you don't get as much. You know, if you catch a decent size, let's say you catch a 46-inch pike or a 36-inch pike, that's a pretty big pike, right? You know, even a 20-inch pike, that's like a foot and a bit. You got to bring that thing up on the kayak and rest it between your legs. Do you really want to do that with a toothy mother like a freaking pike? I don't think so. Yeah, this is a pretty sweet spot. The wind's finally calmed down, so that's beauty. I'm really appreciating that. That sun looks great up there. Like, this is a pretty good shot right here. I'm just gonna grab one of those for the old Insta. You know what, guys? I'm gonna ditch the minnow. I look, ever since I've watched Flair and John B and all the Guggen guys, they've all fished a certain rig, and that rig is known as Wacky worm. For the longest time, I've always wanted to try a Wacky worm setup. I don't know why. I don't even know if Wacky worm works. So we got ourselves a little wormy here. It's been soaking in the gulp. Not like it's gonna absorb it and get the smell, because let's face it, guys, that's not how the that shite works. Now, last time I was at Canadian Tire, I bought these things. They're $1. They're Wacky rigging O-rings. Now, let me show you here. I watched enough videos on how to set this up that I'm pretty sure I can screw it up pretty good. There's actually a tool you can buy for putting these on your worm too, if you're really not sure how to do a manure. And you want to put, oh man, that's going to be loose. Maybe I won't use this worm. That's for, you know what? I'm going to use this worm, but I'm not going to use these little grommets. But I'm still going to show you how to set one up with a thicker worm. Not that one. One of these worms. These lunker hunters. Catch big fish. Unless you're me, then you catch no fish. I don't care. I'm having a good time today. Like I said, it beats the tits out of sitting at home doing nothing. You take these little whatevers and you want to put them on till they're about a little bit more in the halfway. You want to use two. Some people use one and then they take their hook and they put their hook through like that, and they have their hook sitting in it like that. From what I've heard, I don't know if it's true, because like I said, first time ever using a Wacky rig. Having the hook like that, you won't catch it. You'll lose a lot more fish than you'll catch. So you set it up like these, right? Then what you want to do is you want to take your hook and you want to go underneath one of them I'm gonna go underneath this one here. Basically what you're gonna want to do is you want to create an X. So we go underneath this one like that, then we come back, and then we want to go underneath this one. And you see what that does is that's going to cause, it's supposed to cause these it's supposed to cause these things to kind of skip over each other. There we go, like a so. And now we have ourselves a wacky wormed rig. Boom, boom, boom. So what this does is as it pulls into the water, like you see how it flops around like a flounder. So as we, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but as you drop it into the water, it sinks and it gives a weird presentation. So I'm going to send her out there and see if any of these idiots, if there's anybody nearby, wants a piece of wacky rigged worm. And it gives a weird presentation. Like as it drops, it does a flappy, flappy, flappy. Bass get enticed by it because they see this worm that's fluttering down to the bottom like it's fallen out of a tree. They just feel so tempted to strike it, you know, like kind of like how a cat has to strike anything that moves in the house. So that's the way you rig a wacky rig if you have the grommets. If you don't have the grommets, it's a little bit different. You just run the hook right through the worm. Problem is you'll end up going through a lot more worms that way than you would if you use the grommets. It's the sink that gets them. You know, it's the sinking of it. The way it sinks will make a bass want to beat the shit out of it. Apparently it's also good for pike too. But it's got a real slow sink rate. Like here, I don't know if you guys can see this here. I'll aim it down at the lake. There we go, aim it at the lake. And we'll open the bail and just let it drop. As you can see, it's got a real slow sink rate. And if that happens in front of a bass's face, it's just going to annihilate it because it just sees that as a free meal, like a stranded worm. So just let that sink down to the bottom. See if anybody wants a piece of old rubber worm. So I remember at my buddy's house out on Peninsula, off his dock, we thought it was a log at the bottom until the one day we were fishing just for panfish, just having fun, catching all the sunfish and the rock bass. And we dropped a line straight down, and when it hit the log swam off. And it was at that point there that we realized what we were dealing with was a really, really freaking big pike. And it was at that point there that we realized that we didn't really want to deal with that because we were like 6. Yeah, we used to dive off that dock and everything. Meanwhile, there was a massive mother of all pike, or it could have been a muskie because there's muskie in that lake too. We're not sure. All we know is that we thought it was a log. It turned out to be a fish. And the fish would always come back and just rest there. And the crayfish we used to catch, oh my goodness. Not to mention the dock spiders we used to have to kill. You guys ever seen those dock spiders? You probably think your house spiders are bad. A dock spider can be like the size of my hand. Like, they're big and they don't mess around either. They're hardcore. They bite you, it hurts. They're not venomous or anything, but they're pretty damn tough. I remember we grabbed the paddle from my buddy's canoe and we smashed one. No, it was the paddle from the 9.9 aluminum boat, and we smashed one. And we literally watched it reinflate and then come at us. And then I remember my buddy grabbed the paddle and he golf slapped it across the water, and it literally ran across the water back at us. Like, this thing wanted to fight. It was ready to square off. Dock spiders, man, they're nuts. In a lot of the videos I watch, these guys go to these tiny little ponds, and I kind of wish we had something like that around here. Like, it looks like it's like literally in the backyard of an apartment complex, and I haven't seen anything like that around here, where it's like ministry stocked ponds, plenty of creeks and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure you can go over there and fish right off that highway. Just walk down the embankment and go. Something's gotta give. Skivinz needs a fish. Oh man, puked. Alright guys, well, I'm gonna chop this up. We've been at this now for a good solid 3 hours. Managed to bird's nest up the bait caster pretty damn good, as always. And yeah, I'm thinking the fish be not biting today. Well, not that they're not biting, they're biting. They're just not biting here. I'm pretty sure, being the fall, they're at the deeper structure and they not be interested with anything I'm throwing. But hey, we checked out a new spot. Definitely will have to come back here next spring or summer. Hopefully next year we have a kayak or a canoe or something. I've been keeping an eye on Kijiji, looking for deals, but right now I can't really afford much. So that's where this YouTube hobby of mine comes into play. I'm just banking what little bit of money that I get from this aside for next year to get some sort of a watercraft to be able to get out there a little deeper and catch some more fish and make some better content for you guys. That's the hope. The hope, the dream. All that fun stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and pack up the truck and we'll head her home. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Anyway, people, it is what it is. It was a great spot, though, I have to admit. Very, very good spot for fishing. I will come back. I will give her a go again. Must be nice to live out here and just have a lake in your backyard. That'd be pretty pimp. I always thought that. I always wanted that. Mainly back when I was a kid for swimming. Now I want it for fishing. But it is what it is. Anyway, people, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you have any fall fishing tips, leave them below. And if that tip is not to go fishing, then I already know. Until next time, guys, remember, live to win, never give in. Sit, stupid, sit. Good dog.